Hip-hop was born in the streets and shadows of neglected neighborhoods, and the voices of young people had something to say. It wasn't just music, it was survival, identity, and resistance. And during the 1990s, hip-hop experienced what many now call its golden age, a decade where lyricism, storytelling, and authenticity reigned supreme. Fast forward to today, and hip-hop is the biggest genre in the world. It fills stadiums, dominates streaming platforms, and generates billions of dollars. But for many long-time fans, something feels off. Despite its commercial success, modern hip-hop lacks the soul, the grit, and the raw truth that defined the 90s era. In this video, we will explore what made 90s hip-hop so powerful and why, despite the evolution of the genre, today's mainstream hip-hop doesn't hold up to the same standard. From lyrical craftsmanship and regional diversity to cultural impact and artistic legacy, this is a deep dive into what was gained, what was lost, and why it matters. In the 1990s, being a rapper meant being a wordsmith. It meant that your pen had power, that your bars weren't just rhymes over words over a beat, but carefully crafted verses that revealed your worldview, your pain, your dreams. Lyricism wasn't optional, it was a price of admission. Take Nas, for example. When he released Illmatic in 1994, he was only 20 years old, and yet that album is still studied today for its poetic brilliance. In NY State of Mind, Nas doesn't just describe the streets, he paints them with language. I never sleep, cause sleep is the cousin of death. Each bar is filled with vivid imagery, metaphors, and internal rhyme schemes that reflect a deep understanding of both hip-hop and literature. The Notorious B.I.G., or Biggie, some say, brought a different kind of genius. His storytelling was cinematic. Listen to Warning or Give Me the Loot. He uses multiple voices, plays different characters, and delivers dark, humorous narratives with effortless flow. He wasn't just rapping. He was screenwriting through sound. Then there's Tupac Shakur, whose lyrics were raw, with emotion and a revolutionary fire. Brandon's Got a Baby isn't a hit song, it's a social case study in poverty, teen pregnancy, and systematic failure. Tupac combined vulnerability with outrage. His lyrics could make you cry one moment and want you to write the next. Contrast that with much of today's mainstream output, where lyrics often prioritize repetition, ad-libs, and catchy hooks over substance. Take a viral hit like Gucci Gang by Lil Pump. The phrase Gucci Gang is repeated over 50 times in a 2-minute song. It's not that today's rappers don't have a talent, it's that the system rewards volume and virality over craft. In the 90s, rap was about verses, now it's about vibes. The 90s weren't just about lyrics, they were about sound, and the sound changed depending on where you were. Each region had its own identity, its own flavor, its own message. Regionalism in hip-hop wasn't just aesthetic, it was political. On the East Coast, especially in New York, boom bap was king. You have producers like DJ Premier and Pete Rock creating a raw, percussive beat layered with jazz and soul samples. Groups like Gangstar, Mobb Deep, and the Wu-Tang Clan built anthems that sounded like concrete, cold, heavy, and real. The Wu's Enter the 36 Chambers sounded like it was recorded in the basement dojo, and that was the point. Out west, the G-Funk era was in full swing. Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Nate Dogg created lush, funky, synthesizer-driven soundscapes that made you feel like you were cruising down Crenshaw Boulevard. Yet, beneath the smooth grooves were lyrics-soaked intentions of imposed Ronnie King LA. Ice Cube solo work like Death Certificate was very unapologetic. The West Coast wasn't all palm trees, it was powder, kegs, and poetry. The South was rising too. Outkast's debut album, Southern Playlisted Cadillac Music, introduced the world to a new flavor of hip-hop. Earthy, experimental, and deeply rooted in black southern culture. Groups like UGK and the Ghetto Boys brought gritty southern realism long before trap dominated the charts. Compare that to today, where regional distinction has blurred. With internet, SoundCloud, and TikTok, everyone has access to the same sounds and influences. While this global connectivity is powerful, it's also led to a kind of sonic flattering.
You don't really have any love for them. You know, I ain't never seen no cop get no cat out of the tree. Now I live in a nice neighborhood. The cops are different over here. They're like, hey, how you doing? Sending me Christmas cards and shit. Shit's a little different, but the average kid in the streets, he's never had a cop help him. So the attitude is fuck the police.
Hip hop in the 90s wasn't afraid to challenge authority. In fact, it thrived on it. At its core, hip hop was political. Born from oppression, it gave voices to the silence. Public Enemy's Fight the Power was a declaration of the culture war. Chuck D's booming voice wasn't entertainment, it was a rallying cry. NWA's infamous Police, it wasn't just prerogative, it was prophetic. Released in 1988, the song predicted a decade of racial tensions and police brutality that America would continue to ignore. Ice Cube and the Soul Lord became one of hip-hop's most potent political voices. The 1991 album, Death Certificate, is part sermon, part survival manual. Even Tupac, who often gets labeled as a gangster rapper, was deeply immersed in revolutionary ideology. Songs like White Man's World and Changes proved that his mind was as sharp as his pen. Hip-hop back then responded to the moment. It wasn't afraid to get messy, to be angry, to be complex. Today, that political energy still exists, but it's rare in the mainstream. Artists like Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Run the Jewels carry that torch, but they're exceptions. For every To Pimp a Butterfly, there are dozens of tracks about luxury, access, and escapism. It's not that today's hip-hop is political, it's that commercial hip-hop rarely makes room for protest. The revolutionary voices are often independent, underground, or ignored.
Wu-Tang represents a sword style of rhyming. Being that we are lyrical assassins, we are aware that the tongue is symbolic to the sword. Like when in motion, it produces wind. Just like when you hear the word woo, you hear wind. That's also the sound you hear when the swords are swinging on your neck. That's why we say protect your neck.
Closed-minded folks, you know what I'm saying? It's like we got a demo tape and nobody want to hear, but it's like this, the South got something to say. That's all I got to say.
If the 90s was a laboratory, then hip-hop was an experiment. Every group, every region, every album brought something new to the table. A Tribe Called Quest redefined what rap could sound like. Their jazz-infused rhythms, playful lyrics, and Afrocentric consciousness gave us classes like the Low End 3 and the Midnight Marauders. Meanwhile, De La Soul embraced surrealism and humor, creating entire worlds within their records. The RZA, mastermind of the Wu-Tang Clan, invented a sound that was dark, dusty, and chaotic, fusing kung fu samples, horror movie sound effects, and off-kilter soul chops. Even groups like The Roots, with live instrumentation, pushed hip-hop towards the realm of live jazz and jam sessions. That kind of experimentation is hard to find today. In the age of tight beats and algorithmic playlists, a lot of the modern production feels the same. Everyone wants to recreate the sound that's already going viral. That's why many songs on the charts have the same tempo, same hi-hat pattern, same vocal effects. This isn't just to say that experimentation is dead. Just look at artists like Tyler the Creator, JPEG Mafia, or Terra Whack. But the mainstream really rewards risk-taking the way that it did in the 90s. Back then, different was good. Now, different is risky.
I'm trying to bring 1989 back. I was broke in 89. Plus, they had me in jail for a year for a crime I didn't commit, so they locked me in chains. I'm gonna come out and turn the chains into diamonds.
Who you rooting for?
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Who?
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Dollars.
D-O-L-L-A-R-S?
D-O-L-L-A-Z.
All right, brother, thank you. Good luck to all of you.
The music industry has changed dramatically since the 90s. Back then, rappers had to prove themselves in ciphers, battles, and clubs. Getting signed was a dream, but that dream still required artistry. Today, the gatekeepers are gone. Anyone can upload a song and with the right algorithmic boost, become a star overnight. The democratization is a double-edged sword. While it gives more people access, it also floods the market with content. And in a content-first economy, quality often takes a backseat to quantity. Record labels now chase engagement metrics, clicks, likes, and shares. Artists are encouraged to drop a single after single, riding trends rather than building bodies of work. In the 90s, albums were crafted like novels. Today, many are treated like fast food, cheap, quick, and easily forgotten. And social media shifted the focus from music to personality. Rappers are now influencers, brand ambassadors, meme creators. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does dilute the art. In the 90s, the music was a product. Now it's often the advertisement. The impact of the 90s hip-hop is undeniable. Albums like Illmatic, Ready to Die, All Eyes on Me, and The Score by the Fugees are still studied, sampled, and reverbed. Their creators, Nas, Biggie, Tupac, Lauryn Hill, are icons not because they followed the rules, but because they rewrote them. Even today's best artists, Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, Joey Badass, owe their style. their ethics, their ethos, and their subject matter to the 90s. They said it themselves. That was the era that taught them how to write, how to reflect, how to care. Longevity is a true test, and many of the biggest stars from the 90s are still here, still relevant, still touring. That kind of legacy isn't built on trends, it's built on truth. This isn't just nostalgia talking. This is about a time when hip-hop had a different kind of heartbeat, when rappers were journalists, prophets, and poets, when each region brought something new, when albums mattered, when the message was just as important as the music. Today's hip-hop has moments of brilliance, the talent is there, but the system, the industry, and the algorithms, the culture of immediacy often prevents that talent from growing its roots. So, we look back to the 90s, not just with love, but with respect, because that era didn't just shape hip-hop, it defined it.